What's up, friends, and welcome into Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. I am Chris Welsh, and beside me is one of the besties, one of the greats in the baseball world. He is one half of Bubba in the Bloom, but he is all KC Bubba. In the house, KC Bubba. First time, I think, this season, Bubs, that you've been here. You've been here for the last couple years. You jump in on the back half of the year, but is this episode 1 for you of the 26th season?
I think I filled in one time when you were out of town. I think. I can't remember. This might be episode 1, but they're going to get too much of me by the end of the year. It's a little sooner than usual. So, usually it's a late August, September, me and Enrico, but I get to play with the big boys today. So
let's go.
A lot of fun.
Let's go. Bubba's in the house. Obviously, lots to cover. Weird injuries are out there. Some headlining news. Funny enough, there's a prospect that we're going to be talking about that has just lit the world on fire, and we have got prospecting with me, the Welsh, today, and a nice little iteration of a couple guys that have actually just returned, and then some players, some prospects that might benefit from the trade deadline, which is like a little over a week away, and that we might see some production from them. So we got a whole bunch in store for the episode. If you guys would like some free stuff, though, remember, you can have it. You can have some free stuff. All you got to do is make comments below. Not just like anything free, but specifically $50 store code to the Fantasy Pros shop, where you can, as seen on screen, if you're watching on the Twitch or YouTube, you can get, there's hoodies, there's hats, there's shirts and stuff like that. And we're also giving away an FP premium subscription. All you got to do is leave comments on the live stream. So just make sure you're hanging out over here with us, twitch.tv/fantasypros. Make a comment, and if you happen to be subbing to our account, you get a 1.5 time odds boost. We'll be picking at the end of the month. Again, get some swag. You can have a premium subscription. That's pretty awesome, and we're doing it all for you for free $99. So just, make some comments, do the stuff, do the things, please. All right, let's jump into this, because the magician, my dear personal friend, Bubba, Esmerlyn Valdez. No, I mean, we're really not like completely.
Does Corbin Carroll know about this?
Yeah, outside of all the things too, like he's like 22 years old. I could be his dad. That's like the weird part. But this 22-year-old monster bat continues to roll. He has dominated this show the last 3 episodes. The crazy funny thing is, he has slowly laddered himself up into the lead dog of the show. A couple days ago, or a couple shows ago, I'm asking Enrico, does he buy it in the 3 up and 3 down? Yesterday, me and Boggs are kind of talking through what's your vibe on Esmerlyn Valdez. Well, he did it again. He hit another homer. Esmerlyn Valdez is up to 13 home runs, just breaking records. We saw yesterday the whole thing was like, no guy in 31 games, continues to roll, and as we can see on screen, he's still maintaining that 300 batting average. The profile looks ridiculous. He is completely caught fire. Projections for rest of season put him like he's lining up to be like a 30 home run hitter. So Bubba, this is part 3 of the Esmerlyn Valdez book here, and your take on him. It's tremendously high strikeouts, which is the problem. I have likened him in this strikeout conversation to a Murakami, in that he also, if you can see on that board right there, he does not chase. So he does strike out and whiff, which isn't the best thing in the world, but he doesn't chase. So you're going to have to give him a pitch, and you're going to have to beat him. And I think instead of looking at him as like, oh, he's like, 40% strikeout rate or whatever, he's, by the way, he's a 22-year-old. He's a guy that, like, he ups the floor a tiny bit by his ability to not have that chase rate, which is going to create some opportunities like this. And to me, it's like a Schwarber Murakami-esque type of player. But what is your take on the absolutely red-hot Esmerlyn Valdez?
I am loving every minute of it. That home run he hit on Monday night, Oppo Taco, to like the second deck in New York was some big boy stuff there. But yeah, what's not to like outside of you mentioned the strikeout rate, which if you look at his previous minor league years, he was down to 20 to 25%. So like there's room for improvement. You mentioned, you keep saying 22 for a reason. Like he's young, first time really getting a good cup of coffee, and he's thriving. And the fact he doesn't chase gives you an idea that the strikeout rate can fall down, which will be even scarier for the opposition. Like when he first got called up, I kind of wanted to compare him to like a Franmil Reyes type, where he's going to hit the ball so hard. Totally. There's going to be a lot of rough outings there. But that's a great profile. We've seen Franmil go on tears like this at times before he went overseas. But I love what we're seeing from Esmerlyn Valdez. I think He's here to stay. He's going to have some slumps. He's got to be patient. It's going to happen. But the power is undeniable.
Yeah, and that's been my alternate take into this, or just my take too, is that I also think he's worth putting out in the market in redraft. Just because, like, I think it's going to be really hard for him to continue at this rate for the whole season. If you've had him for the last, month, you're reaping the benefits. You're living a great life. But, like, the batting average is his XBA. I can't even see it here. What is it? Still 220? I'm not looking at the screen for it, but it's like around 220. He's hitting around 300. There's a huge difference. There is an overall strikeout problem.
Yeah, 223. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was 220 yesterday. 223. It's gone up. Like, those are problems. But, like, could he still be a 250 hitter? Like, I think that is where he's going to end up lying. But what does the trade market look like? Bubba, we got asked a couple questions yesterday in the chat. Who would you rather rest of season, Bubba or Wyatt Langford? Or Esmerlyn, or Bubba or Wyatt Langford? Bubba,
I'd personally
Esmerlyn.
I was kidding.
Esmerlyn or him.
I think I still go Esmerlyn just for the fact I'm waiting for Langford to pop another hamstring or something, sadly enough. If you told me that Langford's playing the whole year, I'd take Langford, though. Yes.
All right, everybody else is choosing Bubba, too. That was a very easy one. What was the other one? Dang it. If you guys in the chat, drop a couple. I know, because the Wyatt Langford one really stood out to me. There was another kind of like...
It's a good back and forth, for sure.
Yeah, it was like a smaller end one. Just kind of a reminder of like what Colson Montgomery is doing. I kind of agree with that for a game over, for sure. And, I think that's just what it was. Wilyer Abreu or Esmerlyn Valdez.
That's a really good one, but it's also coming off both are red hot right now. Abreu struggled a ton as well. I think I'd still go Esmerlyn in that one.
This one is kind of tough
I can't do O'Neill Cruz. I'm sorry. I just can't.
You can't at all?
I don't. That's just one of my philosophies in life. I don't O'Neill Cruz. I don't Corey Seager. Like some of these guys that can't stay on the diamond. Now, O'Neill Cruz, every report he gets, he's back in like 2 weeks and he gets pushed back. He's almost a Giancarlo Stanton of the Pirates right now.
I didn't know you didn't O'Neill Cruz at all.
I don't.
I didn't know you abstained from O'Neill cruising.
That's one of the few things I abstain from, and that is one of them.
Okay, well, congratulations on 2 years O'Neill Cruz list. Let's do two more. Vanrod, Valdez or Seiya Suzuki?
That's a great one. I'm Team Seiya on that one, but it's very, very close. I like Seiya a lot.
I'm a little bit of a sell on Seiya Suzuki, though he hit a homer. I did the video on trading him yesterday, and then he hits the homer yesterday, but I don't know.
They're both streaky. They're both very streaky.
There is streak. Yeah, you get more of a track record. All right, then how about this one? Maybe we can get you to say Esmerlyn Valdez. Kyle Stowers or Valdez?
Ooh, that's really tough. I think I'm going Stowers on that one.
Okay. Bubba hates Esmerlyn Valdez.
No, I don't.
Can I get a scroll bar? Nope.
Spots.
Nope. Scroll bar at the bottom. Official.
I will not be
Bubba
bullied on my first show.
Hates Esmerlyn Valdez. Clip it. Put it on the. You picked every. I mean, those are big.
No, the first four I picked Esmerlyn.
Ty France or
that's
Esmerlyn
Valdez easy.
Oh, okay,
easy,
we got
easy.
it.
We don't fly that flag around here.
You do really like that. You don't O'Neill Cruz, and occasionally you Esmerlyn Valdez, but there you go. I think you guys can put them out in the market, see what it looks like. There's never been more of a peak time, but understand that Esmerlyn Valdez, I still do think has some value on the season, even if Bubba hates Esmerlyn Valdez. Winning does not hate the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox now have picked up their 14th straight win. Caleb Durbin popped up and was kind of a big dog in this one. I have been a proponent in that same trade video. I guess if you just want to see the takes, I'm selling Seiya Suzuki, but Bubba, my buy was Wilyer Abreu. He's been my guy since the beginning of the year. Now it's just looking a little bit more exciting. I definitely think there's going to be trades in the market. This isn't necessarily the big fantasy thing here. Just wanted to mention Boston Red Sox winning 14 straight is ridiculous. Like a guy like Caleb Durbin, is that one? Because I think like Wilyer speaks for himself. Sedano Rafaela speaks for himself. I think the pitchers, Jake Bennett is just really not available out there anymore. Those guys are who they are. But Caleb Durbin specifically, is that one? I'm going to look at what the roster percentages is for Durbin. I'm on catchers. I'm going to say it's pretty low. Should it not be low? He is 37% between ESPN and Yahoo. That's a consensus Fantasy Pros rank. Should we be a little bit more on Caleb Durbin while these Red Sox are hot and he's rolling?
I would be. I've picked him up in a lot of 12-team leagues over the last few weeks with Caleb Durbin, run the hot streak with him. We've seen like the hit tool we always thought would be decent with some speed. It was just would the power be there, and the power's been there in this last like month and a half. It's almost not even a hot streak anymore. So it's a good almost 2 months for Caleb Durbin for what he's doing. I know when we're talking Yahoo and ESPN, it's a lot of 10-team leagues, and that's where it gets trickier with rostering Durbin. But I think in 12 teams and deeper, Durbin should be on a roster somewhere.
For sure. All right, the Boston Red Sox, congratulations to them, 14. It can continue rolling, obviously. Also, we lost our cool stat yesterday where it was like, the two teams that have won 7 or more games and blah, blah, blah since the 1800s because the Orioles lost that one. But Red Sox continue to roll with it. They're going to be buyers. There's going to be some fantasy relevance that continues to roll on. Maybe a player that they might not be looking to buy right now is the absolute turd burger outing of Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan got obliterated yesterday. And when I say some things got lit up, I mean some things got lit up. I can't show it to you, but I had started to put together, and then we got busy this morning and weren't doing it. I started to put together Joe Ryan holding a tray of turd burgers because he gave up 6 homers. The problem, it was a little too realistic what AI gave me. And then I went to Cali and I was like, help, these are actual turd burgers. And then we couldn't get them cartoonized enough. So we just have to just stare at this stat that Joe Ryan allowed 6 homers. That is tied for the most home runs allowed by any player in a game since 1900. That's crazy. I mean, he had been phenomenal this season. And this was just pew, pew. I've never seen an outing like this. It's really weird timing as well, Bubba, just because Joe Ryan, do they trade him? Do they not? There's extra control. I've thought that he would be one of the biggest beneficiaries, the Twins specifically, if the Tigers really are not going to trade Tarek Skubal. Joe Ryan becomes the number 1 guy in the market. Is there anything of concern that this changes the market? Do you think he's going to get traded? And what did you think of this record-tying home run given up outing? Holy moly.
Well, you know it's bad when Peaky Blinders himself, Petey Halpin, gets his first 2 home runs off of Joe Ryan. Patrick Bailey goes deep. It was just a bad day overall. Ryan still has a sub-4 ERA and a sub-1, like 1.15 whip on the season. He's been that good up till this. He's had second-half struggles over the last couple of seasons. Keep that in mind. There was a report Tuesday morning already saying that Joe Ryan likely not to get traded now. That made me laugh because, the price isn't probably good at the moment. I think he's still, the way the Twins do things, I think he could be traded, but I think he's more likely not to be because they're actually in the playoff hunt right now, where a month ago they were way out of it. The Twins have scored more runs than I think any team in baseball, or outside in the American League at least. Like, it's crazy how good they've been.
Isn't it ridiculous, too, if that is true? It's like them and the Nationals.
It's pretty darn close. I heard a stat the other day. It's like the Twins have, I think, 5 or 6 players that have all scored over 40 runs. Like, that's like they're scoring a ton. Cody Clemens, Brooks Lee. What are we doing here?
Well, and we're going to talk about another guy that might be coming up soon with the Twins in the prospecting segment. So, I think there's a little posturing that's going on with it. I think when you see a guy give up 6 homers, you kind of jump and you're like, is there something wrong? Is there an injury? So I think like they immediately are going to like kind of take him off the market a little bit for a second, say they're not going to trade him. Obviously, if they're competing, it's tougher. But this is one of the guys out there. I will say he was giving up almost the highest barrel rate he had ever given up in his career at over 11%. That can be manageable, and he has managed it. But like, this might be a part of what that looks like when it falls apart, where he just gave up a gang of homers, and it was literally a serving of those turd burgers out there. Can we get some turds in the chat for
turd
Joe Ryan,
burgers,
please?
Amazing.
We'll see it. Yeah, we had the graphics of the little turd. We had these great little cartoon turd burgers that I wanted to get made into like squishies or something, and we could sell them, and we would be billionaires.
The new dumplings, be rich as heck. Just don't microwave them, kids.
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, our boy Ghost, by the way, from weeks ago, Ghost is sending some squishy thing for my kids because it was a late birthday thing. So Ghost is about to become the most popular listener in my household. There you go. They're turd burgers. Who dat? Turd burgers in the chat for Joe Ryan. No real concerns, though, moving forward. Something to pay attention to. This on the concern level or not. We finally got to see what load management looked like for Jacob Misiorowski. Not in love with it. Got to be honest with you. Not the worst thing in the world. But they told us that they had to kind of finagle it, and they had to make adjustments on what Jacob Misiorowski is going to look like in having, that workload for the rest of the season. And it was implemented into a 4-inning outing yesterday, over 65 pitches. Misiorowski was able to, he hit his hundreds, and he was able to strike out 6. That looked good. But 4 innings is not going to do it. What is your take from a fantasy perspective of how long and how much of this we're going to see this year? And is this something, this is an elite pitcher, but is this something enough of a concern that maybe, just maybe you're not like number one in your fantasy league, but maybe people should look to consolidate, get another great pitcher, get another hitter, let somebody else take on the scare? Or is this a nothing burger?
I think it's in between. It's not a turd burger. It's not a nothing burger. I think it's at least it's not a double from in and out. Let's put it that way. We're in the middle here. Okay. It was 65 pitches. That was the weird part. So it was 4 innings and 65 pitches. That's how they're monitoring things. It felt a lot like Garrett Crochet 2 years ago, where the whole second half, you watched them. They still threw them every 5th day, but like you already knew, it's 3 or 4 innings. They just want to get them to the finish line. And the Brewers actually have the best record in baseball right now. So they need Miz in October. They might still skip starts. It's going to be a pain. So to your point, it's going to sting to do, but if you can trade him for something to improve your team, I think the chance for wins are going to be fewer and far between the second half for Miz. And if you think about it, it's 2 months. Like, what is that, 6, 7 starts? Like, you can go get someone to help you quite a bit.
Would you... I mean, well, I was asking an Esmerlyn thing, but you hate Esmerlyn. No, Curls. Would you take like a Joe Ryan and then like a solid hitter? How about, let me throw this at you. This might be way too much, by the way. Gunnar Henderson has not been great this season. He did have a couple doubles. Batting averages stunk. Counting stats are there. This might be way too much, so you tell me. Do you think someone would offer something like a Gunnar and a Ryan? I know there's a high investment on it. Ryan just got lit up. Gunnar has been underwhelming. Someone wants to make a move. A, is that of interest? And B, is that probably too aggressive of an offer or not?
I'd be very interested in that. I'd be shocked if someone offered that, but if they did, I would be very, very keen to listening to that conversation for Miz, for sure.
Then what percent down from, so give me, and I know that's hard because I'm putting you on the spot, but what does that offer look like? If I'm presenting Joe Ryan and Gunnar and you're like, yeah, I think I'm really going to do this. So what is the more like realistic option if you're saying, okay, let's move off of Miz. We're legitimately going to move off of Miz. Maybe we're in 3rd place. We're terrified of this. What are the pieces that you're getting back? You can change it from Joe Ryan, but what's a realistic move?
Well, I would look like a Joe Ryan's a great point just because of what happened. I feel like a Joe Ryan, like a Yuri Perez, Gavin Williams, kind of that tier of pitcher.
Okay, and so one of those guys.
And then you want to mix in, I like the Gunnar Henderson point. That is important, but there's a slew of outfielders you can probably pick from that are like, will your Abreu come into the mix? Do you take a chance on an Esmerlyn Valdez? Because I think the owner of Esmerlyn Valdez already knows like a slump's coming. Like, do you throw in a piece like that? The hitter part's harder for me, I think, than the pitcher side of it.
All right, so if we put something together like that, I kind of interested. Like, would you even entertain? Let's now move it to Yuri Perez and Wilyer Abreu. I actually feel like that sounds like a very realistic trade offer.
I would do it.
You would move Misiorowski for those two.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm like as worried, but I don't think it's a bad idea to do something like that. What I wouldn't like is if you like really dumb down the pitching unless you're doing great. Unless you're doing awesome.
You want an elite pitcher to kind of, like the hitter is what I'm less worried about. That's where I think that's where you can play around more, is the hitter side.
And that's what's tough, though, because it's like, who if you're trying to better your pitching, who wants to get rid of their pitching depth?
Yep.
That's why Joe Ryan and them would have to make sense. But if you're really good at pitching, maybe you could be more hyper-focused on a hitter. 10-team leagues, you have more availability for like streaming and stuff like that. But interesting thing, looking at what this management looked like, it does look really scary. Another former Brewer pitcher and someone I've been trying to ship there, it looks like that ship may have sailed, my friend. Why is Freddy Peralta so bad? Because he looks like the worst. I've been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt across the board. He gave up 7 earned runs over 5 1/3. It's not good. I mean, you'd put this stat, I think, since May 23rd, there's 11 starts in there, 51 innings, a 6.67 ERA. His Sierra is over. His Sierra is better, by the way, but it's still over 4. Horrible K- walk percentage. Everything has been blah. Not only is he not justifiably even a guy we want to like own right now in fantasy, I don't know how he can get traded. Should we have any hope that a trade of Freddy Peralta is going to bring back the old, or is he nothing more than just a guy we should not be doing this dance anymore? Because if you can't start him, we should be dumping him. Should we be cutting him, or is there hope with a trade?
I'd say maybe there's hope in the trade. Maybe New York just doesn't work for Freddie, but I haven't started him in weeks. I started him last night because I played weekly leagues. He had 2 starts, and it was very difficult to see. But like, you look at his skills right now, and He's getting more ground balls. He's getting a little unlucky in certain spots, but as a whole, the strikeout rate's down a ton. He's still walking the same amount of guys. He's not putting guys away. You used to be able to count on Freddy Peralta for a sub-4 ERA with a 1.2 or less WHIP, and WHIP's almost 1.5 right now. He's lost. He's not the same guy. Watching some of that game even last night, he just looked like he was putting on a tee. So I'd be very worried, and I wouldn't fault anybody for dropping. If I get a 10-team league, he's probably not rosterable.
I'm going to try to go through a couple. I have VBR. This one might be super easy, but I just want to prove the point. Freddy Peralta or Jake Bennett?
Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett, not even like in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Freddie Peralta or Sean Burke?
Burke, the way he's pitching lately, yeah.
It is Burke. And they're in from a VBR perspective on FantasyPros, those two guys I just gave you are top 5 pitchers over the last month. So let me move down a little bit. Freddie Peralta or Cade Cavalli? Cade Cavalli over the last 30 days has a 2.96 ERA.
I go Cavalli because he can blow up, but when he's been on, he's been dominant. And Freddie hasn't been dominant since like the first week of the season.
Freddie Peralta or Troy Melton, who has a 0.77 ERA over the last month.
Melton, because his strikeout rate has improved tremendously. Like, he looks like a dominant pitcher of late as well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like
Freddie's tough. Like I said, it's tough to even start him in a 12.
Oh.
Don't roster him in a 10. He's basically a deep league asset at this point.
This is a fun one. I want to say this because I'm so into this guy right now, and I hadn't been this season. But Freddie Peralta or Peter Lambert?
Oh, Peter Lambert. He's boring as
Rocks.
beautiful to a T.
Yeah,
he's one of the few guys I trust every week in my rotation.
Peter Lambert is kind of, like someone said Foster Griffin, like not even close. Foster's awesome. Peter Lambert's kind of like Foster Griffin, and it's like this, they're not like strikeouts are kind of boring, but they throw a slew of pitches. They're getting outs. Like though, I'll take those guys 10 out of 10 times. I don't know if I can find if I look in the top 100, could I legitimately find guys that make sense that you would take Freddie over? And that's the point, and that's why, unfortunately, Freddie Peralta is probably a drop in most fantasy formats at this point. If you wanted to hold out and see, maybe he gets traded back to Milwaukee and maybe he kind of finds it, maybe they tweak some stuff. I think that's a possibility. He's not startable anymore. No. And when guys aren't startable, is it really worth holding it on your bench? Maybe things
especially
should work
with
out.
2 months to go.
Yeah, ifs, buts, candies, and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
And if you're in a head-to-head, you're starting playoffs in a couple of weeks. Like there's no use of him.
All right, this is the best one, though. Turd versus turd.
Oh,
Freddie Peralta or Zach Gallen?
That's a double turd burger. I want nothing to do with you.
That is a double.
I abstain from that, but I'd actually pick Freddie over Gallen.
I would pick Freddie at that. Gallen's the worst pitcher in baseball. You might have Tommy John. He's a guy having like a second opinion on what to play baseball anymore. And I
congratulations, you found one that I would take.
SEC, you did find it. You did it. All right, a couple more headlines, and then we got to get to some prospecting stuff. Jazz Chisholm yesterday, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 5 RBI, and in the win. I found this interesting. There was a tweet after from SNY, and SNY interviewed Jazz Chisholm, who said, quote, basically everybody on the Yankees have told him he's the best in the world. That's from the tweet. The actual quote is, quote, they know I'm firm on confidence, and that's the biggest thing. They were like, let's not forget who you are. You are the greatest in the world. You are Jazz Chisholm. End quote. Is Jazz Chisholm the greatest in the world?
Not a chance. He's just an amazing soundbite. Like, New York media must love him because Sunday night he's putting his earrings in, talking about how he's the worst player in the world, and he goes and hits a home run. It's like 3 home runs in the last 2 days, and now he's the best player. He's got lollipops in the field. The guy is full on character.
If you don't O'Neal Cruz on occasion, do you Jazz Chisholm?
I do.
Tell me why you. Okay, so why do you Jazz Chisholm and not partake in the little O'Neal Cruz?
Jazz Chisholm has proven he can actually stay healthy for most of a season where O'Neal Cruz has not. And draft prices have dictated that. Like, I wasn't in on Chisholm this year because his price went up. Like last year, they were at the same ADP essentially, and I would not go Cruz. Cruz just can't stay healthy. He's a beast. I'm not going to deny it, but he's almost in that Giancarlo Stanton world with him.
He's going to end with like 25 homers and like 40 stolen bases. Are you going to be in next year? Because that's going to, regardless if he hits 220, he's probably going to still cost like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Because I just have a hard time with it because it's a total albatross. That was actually my concern about O'Neal Cruz this year. It was like, I've always been a defender of him, but if that batting average is going to tank back down to 220, it just takes a lot more for you to like fix that. And I know Jazz qualifies at 2nd, and that's super cool and stuff, but like, the streakiness, the strikeouts, like how are the counting stats worth that? I don't know. I mean, he does. He knows.
Yeah, I don't think it is at that price point. And like you mentioned, the only reason why he was appealing was his second base, third base profile where Cruz is outfield. So that made it interesting. But yeah, if you're up there in the second or third round, which you probably will be again, it's usually a no go from me.
Then Yordan Alvarez, 2 homers for your boy yesterday. And also shout out to Bogman. Bogman called a much tougher name than me. He had Helio Ramos yesterday, and Ramos got that. So we got a couple homers. I have no idea where I'm on the board. Bubba is going to have to do good for the second seat here and get some home run calls here in a little bit. Little rookie Lookie, I wanted to highlight one player, and then we got to do some prospecting. But Tommy White got the call up, and Tommy likes singies because he had 4 singles in 5 at-bats yesterday. Any thoughts on Tommy White? I know, prospects in fantasy can be a little dicey, but Tommy Tank's in here getting a little bit of a run. He's hitting .455. He has 5 hits in his first 11 at-bats. Like I said, he loves some singies, but he did have a double in his first game. So do you think there's anything for you in a really good hitting environment? Obviously, I think it's dicey when Kurtz comes back. That probably is going to kick him out, but said the same thing about guys like Esmerlyn Valdez, though, that they are, when you become undeniable, they can't get you out. So I don't know if you feel any different. Anything on Tommy Tanks?
I like Tommy Tanks. He flew through the minors this year, as you know. I like the power. The hit tool is just in general great. The playing time is my question, and they have so many guys. Geloff's coming back, Kurtz is coming back. Like, please just send McNeil to the moon. That would be a great start. There's ways they can make it work. We just got to see if they'll make it work. And if Tommy Tanks gets regular at bats, I'm in. So if you want to use him for the next couple of weeks, great. The latest Nick Kurtz news, he could be back this weekend. That can make it challenging. But I think if he's playing and next week they're in Sacramento, he's definitely in play.
Not to jump ahead, but one thing that could help him out is Joshua Groder hurt his testicles.
JKG, yes.
Yeah.
Joshua Groder.
He's got a testicle issue.
Yes. Yeah, the meat and potatoes got a little last night.
Yeah, his nutsack got hurt, and
Jewels.
he's having an ultrasound for a testicular contusion.
Yeah.
Ow. And that
he looked like a soccer player. He looked like a like if people haven't heard the play-by-play, I highly recommend it. I think it was Bob Brinley of the Diamondbacks. Priceless because he
with
was
Chris
describing
Snyder,
the
you
pain.
mean?
What?
Are you talking about the Chris Snyder one?
Maybe that's what it was. I can't remember, but it was awesome. Just talking about like how the pain he's feeling was.
Oh no, you know why I said that? I got confused because I think Brinley was in the box with the Diamondbacks. I always think of Chris Snyder. Chris Snyder, former catcher with the Diamondbacks, he had a testicular contusion where they opened up and he had to have an emergency surgery. That's what I always think.
I'm talking about Brinley was the play-by-play last night. So
that's what I'm saying. I didn't realize like he might be the problem. He might be the guy that's getting these contusions out there. So super bad. My point to all of that, outside of getting to say testicular and nuts a whole bunch, was that was a guy that was moving over to third base. Tommy can play third base. He's going to be out for a little bit. If Nick Kurtz comes back, that's another way that Tommy Tanks might be able to stick out there, and Tommy can continue getting his singies. All right, that is going to lead us, unfortunately for Bubba, but I'm going to get your take on a few of these. It's prospecting time. It's prospecting with the Welsh. That's me. And we are going to be talking about 5 prospects that I think you guys need to be paying attention to. And 2 at the top here are guys that have returned. Remember Sebastian Walcott? Yeah, one of the most exciting prospects in baseball. Top 10 guy, was going to play in the Arizona Fall League, played 1 game, which I was at, and then got hurt. Then proceeded to get hurt in spring training. We thought he might be out for the season. He had been hanging around the Arizona complex here. He got in a game or 2, went up to AA, and he's back. He is back in action, which is a pleasant surprise. Even more of a pleasant surprise has been the early returns. He's hitting .412 in his first couple back, 2 homers, 2 stolen bases. And let me tell you guys, he is bigger. He's stronger. He might be faster. He's putting up huge EVs already. There was something, I think it was in Complex, it was clocked at like 118. Sometimes those numbers can be, a little bit overinflated for exit velocity. But maybe more important, he's putting up 109s really easy right now. He looks like he has jumped right back into the top spot. I know there are people that play in leagues that maybe you only hold 8 keepers or something like that, or you hold minimal minor league spots. And Sebastian Walcott might have been kind of an afterthought, but you got to remember, he is back. He has got a second half season, or at least a couple months, to kind of reestablish my own prospect ranks that I do, where I do prospects for Dynasty, a top 500 at endthisleague.com. We had to relook at Walcott and see this bigger, better version of him, jumping over a few players that we had before simply because he's back and he's healthy. I have always kind of likened Walcott to a Fernando Tatis Jr. in that, like, I thought the swing and the approach was kind of similar, statistically kind of similar, but I kind of thought he might have been maybe capped physically. Looks like he's going to go past Fernando Tatis Jr. Sebastian Walcott, someone to remember. Bubba, is that if you're in an 8 keeper and you're a little bit rebuilding, is a top 10 prospect something you think that's worth keeping if you're not a heavy competitor? So someone like Walcott.
100%. I love the skills. Like, you nailed a lot of it. I actually dig deep into the AL West for Baseball HQ, so this is a name I've been waiting to come back from the IL. That's why I laughed. 2 of the names you're going to talk about I actually know about. So, I like Walcott quite a bit, and the fact he put on the 17 pounds of muscle, like, sometimes not a good thing, but for a dude that's so young, like, he's so far so good in that regard.
Yeah. And like Lee asked the question, Walcott or Ralphie Velasquez? It's clear. It's just clear Walcott for me. Walcott's a top 10 guy. Here was a really good example. I'll just be quick about it. But Walcott versus a guy like Luis Pena. Luis Pena also gotten a lot bigger. Top Milwaukee prospect that's not named Jesus Made. Stolen bases. He's hitting for average all year, but the homers have kind of depreciated. He's had some injuries and stuff. Walcott's had some injuries, but I think from a physicality standpoint, like, these are the tools. Like, Walcott has all the tools you dream of. He's had some strikeout problems before, but that's worked through. The only thing against him right now, I think, is just the missed time. This is huge for him. I think he'll play in the Arizona Fall League actually this time.
Awesome.
Because he missed so much time. He'll play through this season. This is going to be a big teller. Walcott has all the intangibles to be the number 1 prospect in baseball right now.
Could be why they want to trade Corey Seager too.
100%. I mean, there are thoughts that maybe he could even push sooner. So he is back if you haven't been paying attention, and you should. The second prospect that is back is a much different name. This is actually a guy that was traded this past season from the Boston Red Sox to the Cardinals. It creates a little bit of FOMO in that whole, like, Cardinals trade another guy that works out. I wanted to talk about this, not in that I think there's anything tangible right now. And his name is Brandon Clarke, by the way. Brandon Clarke, pitcher, 6'4" pitcher from the Red Sox to the Cardinals. He has been out all this season. He has been out the entire time. But he had the prospect world buzzing because he was dropping 103 in his return. And this is a guy that he definitely has relief risk, but he's a starter. There's a fun tweet out there from Kareem SSN who put, here were the velocities of his fastball in the first inning. 103.1, 102.9, 102.4. You get it. It goes all the way down. There's a very Misiorowski-like feel. Very talented pitcher. He could go either way, but it's in a really great organization. Now, the last outing, because everybody's talking about the first outing. Last outing, he got hit up a little bit. He gave up a few runs. He's only gone 1 because he's working himself through. This is another candidate for the Arizona Fall League. But no pitcher has got the kind of the game buzzing over the last week than Brandon Clarke because of those insane velos with breaking pitches. So Brandon Clarke is someone to pay attention to in deeper leagues. Again, probably outside the top 100 for most people. He's missed the season. He came back on the scene with this insane fastball, and we had some of those worries with Misiorowski a long time ago. What if these get fixed? You're seeing a 23-year-old, he's dropping 103 in these minor league games. Let's see how it continues when he starts pitching 3 or 4 or 5 innings or whatever. But a return to a guy that has got everybody buzzing. I'm going to guess that the next guy is probably one we're talking about, because the next vibe, we're moving away from guys that have returned to guys that might be returning some value from the trade deadline. And I got 3 prospects that could benefit during the trade deadline. And number 1 is Kaelen Culpepper with the Minnesota Twins. I have talked about him a ton. He's not our Bubba Chandler, but he's definitely a guy that, like, every month or so we kind of do a check back in. Why could he benefit? If this team starts moving off of some of these pieces. They are competing, which makes it a little bit tricky. But Kaelen Culpepper is going to make it a difficult decision. He ended May hitting 280. He ended June hitting 349. Now, he has been out a little bit, so I think that again, this is why, like, pushing, because I don't believe, he is on the IL. I don't believe this is the big serious one. Maybe I'm going to be incorrect about this. But again, this is about the trade deadline, where if they move off of any pieces, we got to get the playing time. Now, the Twins have a couple of these guys, so I guess I could pseudo throw at you. Walker Jenkins could be one of them. Manuel Rodriguez, I think, is on the 60-day. But as long as Culpepper comes back in the near term, this could be a player that has had a 2-hot run, as well as Walker Jenkins we might see. Is this one of the guys you were talking about, or is it actually going to be the next guy coming up?
It's a pitcher that we're going to talk about here shortly.
Oh,
but
really?
It's on the last one, the 5th one on your list. But Culpepper's awesome. Like, this is a guy that I drafted hold leagues. People were speculating on because they thought he'd get a chance in that Minnesota outfield. So, now that he's going to be healthy soon, if not like any day now, it sounds like. I'm with you, either as a trade piece or a benefactor of someone getting traded. Culpepper shouldn't be in AAA much longer.
Yeah, and he was placed, by the way, just to get everybody back in it, on the 7-day IL on July 7th. So that was 2 weeks ago. It was a glute injury. I think we should be leaning into a good spot, so it's not a big serious thing, but he had been hot. He had been definite red hot. So this is a guy that could be coming up, getting that production. So he is a person to pay attention at the trade deadline if the Twins do move off of some pieces. Like the Colorado Rockies, because sometimes these guys make themselves undeniable. The Rockies are in a situation where they have got a horrible, horrible record with some talented players that could be some great trade bait. They got a lot of outfielders, corner infield types. Obviously, Jake McCarthy could be a trade option. Hunter Goodman dominates the world in these conversations, Bubba, where it's like they're not going to get traded. It would take a village to be able to move him, but he's also the loudest name. And that starts to make a guy like Charlie Condon even that more interesting. And that's why we want to highlight him, hitting 286 on the year, over 400 OBP, and already up over 20 homers. If Goodman goes, if McCarthy goes, this is going to create opportunities for what more is he learning in the minors. He finished June hitting 337 with 10 homers, and he's up to 286 so far this month with more homers. The strikeouts are always going to be a little pseudo thing, but dude, put him in Colorado. Get off of some of these pieces, the Hunter Goodmans. Charlie Condon should be up in the near future. So do you believe Hunter Goodman will be traded? And do you think that is going to open up a spot for Condon? Or is it going to be a guy like, should be people pay attention to like a Zach Veen getting the opportunity?
Condon should get the call, but it's the Rockies. So I never know what the Rockies are going to do. Goodman should get traded. It's the Rockies. So I'm just going to keep prefacing that Condon should have been up already in a perfect world. They have so many outfielders, but are they all? Cole Carrick's been great. Not going to knock that. Moniak and McCarthy's like, they finally have a logjam. Beck and Doyle are gone, but Condon shouldn't be blocking people or it shouldn't be getting blocked. Let's put it that way after the trade deadline.
I think this is the one I feel like the most confident about. I feel like the trade deadline is going to line him up because he can also play first base. So whether it's first or first or outfield,
Rumfield's been good though.
No, I mean Troy Johnson is also like that's why this is a tough one, but it's like I just don't know what is served for him to be in AAA the entire season. And I think if you're this bad of a team, you got to move off of some of these pieces and retool, and that leads to an opportunity for Charlie Condon. And it finally leads to the guy that I'll let you speak on as well, and that I put on this list. This is probably the goofiest name on here, but it's George Klassen with the Angels, and it's pretty clear. They're going to move pieces. They have made Jose Soriano and they've made Reed Detmers available. If they move one, this probably opens up a spot. If they move two, it's definitely going to open up a spot. The season total hasn't looked incredible. He's got like a 4.2 ERA, but this is also the PCL. Like, you're going to see inflated stuff. It's not a surprise. A 4 ERA doesn't necessarily translate to like a 3 ERA because it's PCL, but you know it's more of a hitting environment. His last start, too, was kind of a bigger one. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts he had in that. He has gone 6 in 3 of his last 4 starts. He's ready to get more of an opportunity again. And I think he's a guy that would jump up if a trade is going to happen. So you said you were talking about it at Baseball HQ. That sounds like that's something that you're living a reality with as well.
Yeah, he's my cover boy for my Wednesday article. I try to project future playing time for the AL West, and with Detmers and Soriano both on the block, I thought Klassen should have got a call before Aldegari and other guys, but he's been great. And to your point, it's people remember the 2 starts with Anaheim to start the year, but over his last 10 starts at AAA, 3 earned runs or less in 9 starts. And you mentioned his PCL ERA. Over those last 10 starts, it's a 2.67 ERA in the PCL. That is outstanding. 16 earned runs over 54 innings pitched with 55 Ks. It's the 30 walks that are deterring people. That's kind of, but the control has gotten better as the season has gone along, which young pitchers will do. So, big George Klassen fan. He should be up by August 3rd and a half, is what I would say.
You almost turned into Tim Robinson there. You're like 55 strikeouts, 55 walks. That's what I thought.
Who's with me?
Who's with me? All right, there you go.
It's when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor.
five prospects from Sebastian Walcott, Brandon Clarke, Kaelen Culpepper, Charlie Condon, and George Klassen for you to pay attention to, whether they're coming back or they're going to be benefiting. That is prospecting with the Welsh. All right, friends, fun stat, by the way. This shout out to our boy Callie who pulled this up about Kevin McGonigle. I don't know if we have art on this, and it's okay if we don't, but Kevin McGonigle officially joined Ty Cobb as the only players in Tigers history to produce 100 hits in 100 games. Yeah, there it is. That's actually insane. And I believe, Callie, was it as well that he's the first, like he got 100 hits in 100 games, not just like to produce. Oh yeah, well, duh. Actually, obviously, it's 100 hits in under 100 games. That's a ridiculous stat. So I was walking myself. Yeah, he's in his first 100 games ever. Oh, okay. So that was the adjustments because that was a stupid thing I was about to say, and I kind of said 100 hits in under 100 games. That's the thing. But in his first 100 games, that's berserko. You and I were both in the chat like, huh? Kevin McGonigle continues to roll and Arizona Fall League MVP, so that's why we pay attention, Bubs.
Yep. It was good to see him then. And remember when Connor Griffin, who was playing great, was the guy to draft this year? It looks like McGonigle was the one.
Quick, McGonigle next year is a what rounder?
Third. If for 15-team leagues, 12 teams, probably like fifth or sixth. Just because I think the power is still going to get better, but it wasn't good enough. But he's going to be he's a top 100 for sure. But top 50 is the question.
Usually we see these stats and it's like some, because you're saying like any time you're on a list with Cobb, but it'll be like, guy with 100 hits, when there's, a peak hour of 4 p.m. and, it's like there's also like a wind chill, and it's like those stupid stats. Like this is just straight up like 100 hits in under 100 games. Only Tigers to do it. It's Ty Cobb and Kevin McGonigle. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I think third or fourth round is probably the range of where Kevin McGonigle is going to be. He's ridiculous. 3 up and 3 down. On the up, Trey Turner, 3 for 5. 5 RBIs, had a little double dong action yesterday. We also got a double dong from Dylan Dingler, 4 for 5, 2 homers. The continued run. Me and Bubba, we argue and fight about catchers a lot because Bubba's a big catcher defender. My argument always is like, why would I spend high on catchers when you find these diamonds in the rough? And Dylan Dingler has been, he's been one of those.
It's Dylan Dirk Dingler for those keeping track at home.
Yes, exactly. Way too many people are too young for that reference. And then Rhys Hoskins, by the way, double dong. It was a double dong Monday. Hit his 10th and 11th homer. So there you go. On the downs, Braxton Ashcraft obliterated 7 earned runs in 3 innings. That was a very, very sad outing for most of us. Emmett Sheehan also 5 1/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, gave up a couple bombs. And then I'm just going to get it out of the way. Ivan Herrera, Dalton Rushing, both 0 for 4, Golden Sombreros with 4 strikeouts. Let me ask you, though. Are we done with Emmett Sheehan? I was an Emmett Sheehan guy. I was wrong. He stinks. I think the experiment is done. Roki Sasaki was really great in his last start. I know they're babying Ohtani, but do you think we need to be done with Emmett Sheehan?
I was done probably 2 to 3 weeks ago. It's okay. He's not putting the starts together right now. Blake Snell's actually throwing a rehab start. He's still probably 3 away, but that's coming. Like you might get 2 or 3 more Sheehan starts, and I don't think I want to be a part of them.
Yeah, I don't either. Unfortunately, sad. On the injury front, lots of little injury things out there. Not Kyle Teals, though. He was removed from Monday's game with a left ankle injury, immediately placed on the IL. That might be, we got to see what the severity of it is, but he has had some injuries, and that didn't look good. That did not look good.
They're speculating Achilles, and that's a year thing. So
yeah, and they were grabbing at his Achilles
immediately before they even did testing last night, they were calling Edgar Caro back up. So it wasn't even like they were waiting for imaging.
Yep. So that could be the season. That's a brutal blow. White Sox, or I think I saw a stat. Was it right? Since April 17th, the best record from AL team is the Chicago White Sox. Is that
sounds
that's
about
insane?
Right?
That's ridiculous. They're so ridiculous in it, but this might have to proceed a move. Bobby Witt Jr. was removed from Monday's game against the Giants with lower back tightness. Probably nothing too crazy, but you don't like to see Bobby Witt come out of a game. You also don't like to see Julio Rodriguez. I was watching that game live, and he strained his hamstring, or at least the thought was he strained his hamstring. Now they're kind of saying they don't think he did that. We don't know. I don't know what level we're at with Julio. It sounds like things might have been okay, but he got pulled mid-game. Do you have any bigger concerns than me on either one of those guys?
I'm hoping he's fine, but it's just weird. He keeps getting hurt running the bases right now, getting hit with baseballs or avoiding baseballs, and we don't need to see it because he's been playing pretty darn good.
I put out a little bit of a thing on an In This League episode yesterday with Bogman where I'm actually putting out some warning signals, not just because of the injuries, but also the production on Corbin Carroll. You can go and listen to that if you want to hear it. I think there's some stuff in the game that are a problem, but Corbin Carroll looks like he may have avoided something big with that hyperextension on his elbow because a friend of mine, John Gambadoro, reported he is expected to be back in the lineup today. So that's probably a really good sign. They would obviously baby that if it was a bigger concern, but I have some bigger concerns from a production standpoint of what he's done this year. It's just, none of it looks good. His zone, by the way, just I'll throw this out to you. Zone contact, he's always run league average at 81. 77% right now, according to Baseball Savant. Like, his zone contact is down. Like, everything is just down. Great, he leads in triples. I'm going to cash that bet, but everything else doesn't look super great. I wonder if Corbin Carroll is going to push himself out of the first round in fantasy for next season, especially with new additions of guys like James Wood, who will probably be in there. If Jordan Walker continues, how could you justifiably... Jordan Walker finishes a year at like 280 with his stats. How can you justifiably take Corbin Carroll with what he's doing right now over Jordan Walker? Outside of saying like, well, Corbin did it for a couple years. And I'm a defender.
And I know it's a podcast for another day, but you have Carroll, Tucker, Vladdy. Like, they're all going to be moving. Tatis. It's going to be interesting.
Well, I think Tatis might go over Corbin Carroll. Yeah, I think he saved himself. As I pointed out the other day, since June 1st, he's doubled his launch angle, and all the other metrics are great. Best average EV of any player in baseball since June 1st is Fernando Tatis Jr., and he's getting the ball back in the air. He's making a better case for Corbin Carroll. He's hit the ball hard all year,
but like you said, he's finally elevating the baseball.
Yeah. Colson Montgomery was removed after fouling a ball off his right leg, so the disaster for the White Sox continue. And Casey Mize threw before Monday's game, expects to make his next scheduled start. So those are some of the injury stuff that's floating out there. Let's talk about some home run calls. I did get, we can look at the board, we can pop it up here. I was told I'm getting close. I am at 24. Remember, I get my half. I have 24 and a half. I am 4 off from making this board. I don't know the last time I was on this board. It might have been April. My birthday was in mid-April. I might have been a year younger than I am right now, the last time I was on this board. I'm 4 away. I got no chance to catch up to High Cubby, who's at 43. Lee Goldman was able to get into the 40s. So we have 2 40s now, 43 and 41. Whips and SoFlo are still both up there. Hopefully I can get going. I did have 2 yesterday from Yordan Alvarez. Bogman got the Helio Ramos correct. Will you, Bubba, be able to get the other seat back on the board? Who's your home run call for today?
I know I'm cheating, but I feel like I needed to make up ground here. So we're going to Coors Field because this Michael Lorenzen guy is on the mound, and I'm going to go with James Wood. He didn't go deep on Monday. There's not too many games where Wood does not go deep. So, yeah, James Wood might be another leadoff home run for all we know.
What was that? You're like this Michael Lorenzen guy. I'm going to go with Murakami, Munetaka Murakami. He's going up against Kumar Rocker. I think he's given up like 4 homers in his last like 2 or 3 outings. I think he's going to lay one out there. They need some offense as guys are going down left and right, and it ain't Murakami. Murakami's been getting some hits, but no homers. Yeah. Today, we get back on the board, and we get me closer to getting on that board. Those are the home run calls, which is going to take us to the best bets of the day. I was able to cash. Bogman did not. I'm a little too streaker here. I was able to cash the Cardinals' first 5 yesterday, and then they ended up losing the game. But that's why you play first 5 sometime. So we were able to cash that bad boy. But going into today, the Hard Rock best bet. Bubba, who you got?
Matt Olson. Walker Buehler is pitching against the Atlanta Braves on Tuesday night. I almost picked Matt Olson as my home run call, but I'll take over 3 runs, hits, and RBIs. He's been red hot in the middle of that order. Him and Drake Baldwin should both have a big game.
Okay, I'm down with that. I'm going to go into the nerfies. We're going to nerfy it. Sometimes we will play really poor offenses. Sometimes we'll play really good pitchers. We're going to dabble a little bit in both. We're going with the Reds and the Mariners no-run first inning. Around minus 120, that's actually not a bad marker. For the Red side, I've got Chase Burns. Maybe we're going to be without Julio at the top of the lineup, which I think helps. I know Cal Raleigh did hit a homer yesterday. My God, something's going on. But I really like, and also this is a very pitcher-friendly environment, so I like Chase Burns being able to mow him down. On the other end, Luis Castillo has definitely had his moments. I don't love the Reds' top of the lineup right now. Again, it is at home in Seattle, so I think this is a really good spot. So no run first inning for this one. I think it's the last game of the night as well, or it's tied for one of those last games, so you can kind of sweat that out. So Reds, Mariners, Nerfy for me, Matt Olson over 3 run hit RBI for Bubba. Those are the Hard Rock best bets. And if you guys want to try your first bet at Hard Rock, you can do it today. You can score 150 in bonus bets as well if you win. Go place that $5 bet. If it hits, you get not only the winnings, but also 150 in bonus bets. It's Florida Sportsbook, but it's a whole bunch more as well. My biggest tell for you is go download the Hard Rock Bet app today, sign up, check out all the great bonuses and promotions they have, and there's plenty of places that you're allowed to do it, just like here in Arizona. So start today, Hard Rock Bet. There you go. That's the show, Bubba. It's in the books.
Beautiful.
I was about to say the over hit. So I don't know what the over was. So last week, the over was 49.5. Would it go to 50 minutes? The under cash yesterday, way over today. You should have seen that coming.
When you and I talk, it's going to go over more often than not.
It's like, again, it's not going to be a 30-minute show. I mean, we could cut a bunch of fun stuff.
I've been told that since I started doing this multiple years ago. I don't think I've ever come close to a 30-minute show. So
yeah, it's really, really tough to do. It's not easy for me. I'll never be able to do it. But the over 50 cash, it was a prospecting with the Welsh days. So like, what are you going to do? So someone sets the line for tomorrow in the chat, please. Bogman's going to be back with me. Little ITL takeover again. Set the line. 45-minute show probably is going to push to 48 yet tomorrow. So you guys can play the line with us. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Subscribe. YouTube.com/FantasyPros MLB on the YouTube. If you're already watching there, great. The inverse. Come over to Twitch if you're on YouTube. Play and hang with us live, twitch.tv/FantasyPros. But if you miss any of it, you can always catch it on the YouTube, plus on the podcast platforms. You can check that out as well. Make sure to support Bubba and everything he's got going on. Bubba and the Bloom, must listen to podcast. Bubba's going to be here a bunch more, I think, later in the week as well with Joe Rico. Yep. That is going to do it, friends. Have a fantastic week. You know where to find us. For Seth and Callie, that's Bubba. I'm Welsh. We'll talk to you next time right here on Fantasy Pros. Leading off. Peace. Get out of here. Get out of here, you filthy animals. 30 minutes. Can you imagine? I don't think I've done a 30-minute show in my life.
Yeah. No one's ever called me fast.
Yeah. Take the S out. I've gotten that, but not fast.
All the time. Welcome to the party. Fat, bald, and stupid. No way to go through